Are your arms getting tired just thinking about your next painting project? Mine too. Well, let me show you an old shop hack that can solve that issue cheaply, quickly, and simply. Best part of this is if you don't have any of this stuff laying around in your shop, you should be able to find any of these materials at a local hardware store for about $10. You will need a cordless drill and a wrench, even an adjustable wrench, and then something to be able to deburr this plastic pipe with. But let's get into that. So first thing you're going to need is a roughly about a 12-inch length of 3-inch Schedule 40 ABS black pipe. This is fairly common, used in the plumbing industry for tons of different applications. And luckily, my local hardware store already has these cut to different lengths. So I just picked up a 12-inch piece, which will work perfect. The next piece we're going to need is a 3-inch test plug. Yep, 3-inch. 3-inch pipe, 3-inch test plug. Starting to make sense? All right, a test plug is something people use to basically test pressure within a plumbing system. So it's made up of 2 little hard pieces of plastic with a bolt running through. And then that way, when you tighten the wing nut, there's a rubber O-ring or gasket here that then is pushed out. And that will create a seal against the pipe. So when you tighten against this, it creates a nice snug seal into the pipe. And it's reusable because as soon as you release tension, you can pull it right back out. So for our purposes, we actually don't want to use this wing nut, and there's a little plastic washer underneath. We're not going to use either of those. So in their place, we needed to get a 3/8 washer and a 3/8 nut. So to begin this whole project, let's start by deburring this pipe. Local hardware store cut it, or you cut it, you're going to be left with a pretty sharp little ring on the inside and the outside of the diameter. So go ahead and deburr those. I like to use a deburr tool that I have just laying around. But if you don't have that, you can use a piece of Scotch-Brite or some sandpaper. But just make sure that you get a nice little chamfer on that edge so that you're not going to cut yourself. And so, all right, let's go ahead and do that. That's pretty good. And again, you're going to want to be able to get the inside and the outside diameters. The deburr tool works pretty good with that. Makes pretty quick work. And just to make sure, we're going to go ahead and use some Scotch-Brite to touch that up. Make sure it's nice and smooth, which it is. All right, so we're going to take that length, and we're going to go ahead and disassemble this. Set the wing nut and the plastic washer aside. Replace them with the flat washer and the 3/8 nut. Find the side of the tube that you would like to work off of. And take your 9/16 wrench or adjustable wrench, however you want to do it. And just make that nice and snug. You don't want to have to put too much pressure on it, but once it starts getting tight, it's going to be nice and snug. Now this is going to make up your main assembly of the mixer. All we're going to do is use the chuck on that and clamp onto the end of the threads there. And on your drill, you're going to want to use, if you have different settings, you're going to want to use the lowest setting possible. We don't need this spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. We just need to create a nice, consistent motion. And that'll be able to work the ball that's inside of these cans and let it do the mixing inside of the can. All right, so make sure that this is low setting. I am going to use a rag. Now you don't have to do this, but I like to because it seems to hold the cans a little bit more firm. And then that way I can shake the ball inside instead of just spinning the can. But as you can tell, there is nothing really banging around in that one. So we know the metal ball and the mixing ball inside is still kind of stuck up in the stuff and it's not really mixing much. So, actually, I'm just going to lay the rag over top of this, kind of in the center. And we're going to shove this down and in. Now, we don't have to put it all the way in. We're just looking to make sure that it gets held firmly in there. And the rag makes a great way to be able to pull it right back out. And we're going to go ahead and spin this. We're going to want to spin it for about the same amount of time as the shaking, as the manufacturer recommends the shaking. But honestly, I tend to see this works a little bit better than just sitting there shaking. So let's spin it up and just see how long it would take to get it to actually hear the metal ball inside. Give it a little start and stop, and that'll be able to make sure that the ball can move within the tube. And you can see if we put it up on the higher setting, we can spin it like that. It's just, you don't need to. It's totally not necessary. You can hear that the metal ball inside is spinning already. So it is spinning and it is shaking. We don't really need to spin it that fast. All right, and you can tell that that is spinning. Let's go ahead and take that out. We can take the can out. Oh, pretty nice. It is probably already well shaken. So, hopefully this helps some of you out there today. For about 10 bucks in a drill, you can have yourself a very handy mixer. Have a good one.